Hello, hello, adventurers, and welcome back to the Dragon's Lair. I hope you enjoyed the precursor, the Meister subclass breakdown. Today we're going to be putting that to use by creating Maka. So, let's jump right into it, shall we? Starting off with her strength. Yeah. She's not, like, the strongest of the strong, especially when you compare her to someone like Blackstar. I guess I should go ahead and say spoiler alert. 3, 2, 1, we should be good. I didn't really spoil anything there, but I will in the future. It's gonna happen. So, yeah, when you compare Maka to Blackstar, she's not super strong, but, like, compared to your average everyday person, she's much stronger than, most people. So, like, when you're looking at it through a D&D context, through the lens like that, she's gonna be relatively strong. She can definitely hold her own in a fight. I would say, for base starters, probably 12 to 14, and then 16 would definitely be possible. Yeah. We good there? I feel like I'm forgetting something, but
I
nothing
mean,
matters.
I don't know the fact that she can right hook people like no tomorrow, but
Yeah. She's a real killer when she gets a book in her hands.
Otherwise, no.
Alright, moving into dexterity. Oh, yeah. The whole, like, weapon
the
thing.
weapon.
Yeah. So, yeah, her weapon is a scythe. That's going to be, from what I can figure out, mainly a strength-based weapon. There's a qualifier, which I'll get to here in a second. But the way I would build a scythe in D&D, because I couldn't find one aside from homebrew, so we'll homebrew it. I would do one of two things. Either give it the weapon class of a great axe, so a d12 damage, just because it's kind of a big two-handed weapon like that. Or, probably what I would do instead, I would make it kind of like a halberd base, where it has a d10 damage class, but it has a 10-foot reach. Because it's a giant kind of polearm with a blade at the end of it. So I would probably go with the second route, the polearm, 10-foot reach. But it's really up to you. Now, the qualifier here that you could think of to make it kind of fit better with Maka is using the fact that it's a weapon partner, so that soul is her weapon. You could make it to where, because they mesh so well, they can like soul resonate and just work together really well. He enables Maka to be able to essentially make the scythe a versatile weapon. Make it dex-based. That's not versatile. That's finesse. Wrong word. So yeah, he could essentially enable Maka to a finesse fighting style to where she could use the scythe still, but make it a dexterity-based weapon, which would probably fit her character a little more. But that would be DM's discretion. Now that we've covered that, let's move into dexterity. Yeah, so, said spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1. We should be good. It's an anime. So, you got flying in air, you've got a bunch of attacks in air, movements in air, things like that. You've got the whole anime run thing going on. That happens a couple times. People are constantly doing flips and tricks, and it's really cool. You got one character that skateboards, so, like, there's that. Yeah, it's kind of, Maka's no exception. She's flipping around in the middle of the air. She's doing a bunch of attacks in air. A lot of her fighting style is kind of movement-based and, like, air-based, aerial. So, all of that's going to kind of mesh into a dexterity score that's pretty good. Consider the fact that she's also very small. She's a 14-year-old girl. She's very small. Yes. So she's going to be really hard to hit in that order as well. So, just kind of all in all, looking at the type of attacks she does and her general physique, I would probably go with 18 to 20 for the dexterity score. Maybe if you wanted a little bit more of a balance in the beginning, start with 16, but 18 to 20 makes a lot of sense. Moving into Constitution. Spoiler alert. 3, 2, 1. We should be good. Yeah, this isn't going to make a whole lot of sense if you haven't seen the show, but if you have, you know why her constitution is amazing, right? We get a couple of glimpses here and there, specifically when she gets decked by Blackstar and like gets up and just laughs it off pretty much. But the real show for her constitution shows up at the very end, the last 2 or 3 fight scenes, where she's just getting hit after hit after hit against her, and she kind of manages to just brush it off, almost like nothing happened. Like, she gets injured, but she manages to stand back up and continue the fight. So it shows that she can really just go through a lot and be fine. Because of that, I have to say 20 for her constitution score. Like, this has probably been the most definitive score that I've ever had. So, there's that. Moving into intelligence. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to go off of here. One episode. We get one episode of them studying for tests, and then we get to know the score at the very end, and Maka was the top of her class. So, like, she's very smart. She has a lot of knowledge. Because of that, 18 to 20. 20 being the more likely of a score. Into wisdom, she doesn't always put all of that knowledge to super great use. She's very book smart, but when it comes to practicality and using her smarts, she's not the greatest at it, especially not in the beginning. You get things where people have to pull her out of fights, like Soul has to actually stop her from making bad decisions, which is kind of ironic, because Soul does not make great decisions.
No.
So things like that. Like, she has the intelligence, but she doesn't always use it to, or put it to good use. The only real exception that I have where she did put her intelligence to good use was when she saved Soul from the devil dude, as I'm going to call him, because I don't know his real name, and I don't care to learn it. Where, essentially, she just outsmarted him, and was able to use her ability to think to come up with a solution that he didn't think of, and then using what she knew about it, she put it into action, which is the definition of wisdom, for at least for like D&D base, and was able to save Soul. So there is that saving grace. For her wisdom score, I would say somewhere around 8 to 12, because she doesn't always make good decisions, but then she does make some good decisions. Probably more than Chill.
Yes.
Probably more than me. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. So, into... I give the score, right? Yeah, 8 to 12.
8, yeah.
Yeah. Into charisma. Yeah, she's friendly. Yeah. Yeah. Don't give her a book. She's very mean with books.
Very.
It's just so painful. I don't, like, why? But, it's neither here nor there. When you first meet her, she comes across as very friendly, because she is. She's also very friendly to people that you shouldn't necessarily be, like, overly friendly to, or you wouldn't think you would be overly friendly to, specifically Krona. But, you know, she is. She has her times where she's not super friendly, right? But, for the most part, she's nice. From an outside looking in kind of perspective, she's very quiet and not very outspoken. So that's going to kind of balance it a little bit. I would probably say somewhere between 14 and 16 for her charisma scores. Just right around that area, just to give you an idea. Did I miss anything there?
Scanning. No.
Cool. Into the next portion of the build, it's important to note that, for the record, the weapon partner is going to remain in weapon form, but they do have a few things that would tie in to their weapon form, which is their mental stats and constitution score. So starting with Soul's constitution, he takes... The one thing I'm basing this off of, really, is when he takes a major hit across the chest from Krona, and spoiler alert 3, 2, 1. We should be good. This isn't really a spoiler, but the what comes after it is whatever. He does survive. He manages to survive, even when people are kind of saying he probably shouldn't. So there's that. And the reason I said spoiler there is because not because he survives, but because that sets up for the rest of the series. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that happens at like what, episode like 10, 12 somewhere around?
It's pretty early.
Yeah, it's relatively early on. It could be right around like the quarter mark,
maybe
quarter to a third, but it's not like halfway.
Mm-hmm.
It's before then, but it sets up for the rest of the series to take place. So there's that. Intelligence, yeah, no. So in that episode with the test, Soul I think does better than some of the others. He manages to get at least one correct, I think. There were a few that got outright zeros.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about them later. But yeah, he's not the sharpest knife in the sharpest scythe in the shed, you know. Yeah, that was bad. But he's not outright stupid. So you know, considering that, I'm gonna say probably for his score somewhere around 6 to 8. But you know, it's not as bad as it could have been. You know, he's got some intelligence to him. It's just not book smarts. Mm-hmm. So if you want to include that, you could maybe justify it to 10, maybe 12, probably not. So yeah, moving into wisdom though. He's wiser than he is smart. He's able to take what he does know and put it into practice. He knows quite a bit about fighting and that sort of thing, to where he can kind of guide those around him to strike when they need to, and keep tempo with the fight, as well as he can recognize a lost fight and hopefully stop people from making bad decisions by rushing into it even further. Black Star. So yeah, because of that, I'm going to say for his wisdom score, it's probably going to be somewhere around 16 to 18, possibly 20, but 16 to 18 would be my major area range. Moving into charisma. Yes, he's not as outwardly friendly as Maka, but he is a little more outspoken and doesn't have any problems making his opinions known when it's the time for it. So because of that, I would say it kind of evens out to where he's about the same as Maka, 14 to 16. Am I forgetting anything here?
No.
I will say this before we continue. Weapons, while in a fight, have the ability to mentally communicate with their partners. Mm-hmm. So they can relay information, things that they may see or things that they might think with their partners. And that's kind of important as to why we gave you the mental stats for Soul and not the physical, because we're assuming for the sake of the fights that they're in physical form, or that they're in weapon form, not, I guess, human form? Mm-hmm. Whatever. So that's why we didn't do strength and dexterity, is because for the sake of what we're talking about, it's going to be a mainly combat-based campaign, so you didn't really need those, because they're not doing anything physical. Into the actual build. There's only going to be one build for this, because I had to create the subclass that I'm using, so there's not really a straightforward or conceptual, because it is just the one build. Or the one subclass. So, how does it start off? Starting at level 3?
For the race.
Oh, for the race. Yeah. I always start with the race. I don't know why. I forgot about that. For the race, Maka is going to be human. If you were going for more of a conceptual style build, this is where it would happen. I could see high elf for the intelligence and the dexterity buffs. But aside from that, that's really all I got. Now, does it start with the class build?
Yeah, class.
Okay. Starting at level 3, you're going to go... This is assuming you went fighter subclass, or fighter class. You're going to go the Meister subclass. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then, what's the... It's two-handed or great weapon fighting, isn't it?
Great weapon.
You're gonna go great weapon fighting for the fighting style. Did I miss anything there? Just that one sentence? I feel like I forgot something. No? Ah, I'm on point. Okay. So, yeah. Wait, no. Yeah, I did.
No?
Because they get a choice at level 3.
You're going into level 3 now.
Oh, so now I'm going... Okay. So at level 3, yeah. You might be thinking that we're going to go with Witch Hunter. No. To start out, I chose the multiple weapons, which... What's that give you exactly? It's just the ability for them to get 2 types of weapons.
Yeah.
Right? Which could include, but are not limited to, things like daggers. Shurikens is one of them, either a few small ones or one large shuriken.
Mm-hmm.
Long swords, I think guns even. Like, you got pretty much whatever weapon you want. The reason we're doing this is because we see Sol a couple of times use a couple of different weapon styles aside from the main scythe style. And to replicate that, we went with multiple weapons, so you can get the arm scythe that he does, where only one of his arms is replaced by the scythe blade. And then a couple of times, the scythe blades sprout out of his back some. So just to replicate those 2 things, we went with multiple weapons. Instead of Witch Hunter. But at level 7, that's when you go with Witch Hunter. So that gives you, what is it, Chill, exactly?
The prerequisite.
Prereqs. Yeah, prerequisites are just, they're the scythe or sickle weapon types, yeah. It gives, does it give advantage to hit?
Resonation.
Yi? No? No yi?
Gaining a bonus action attack when they do so.
Wait, so just go ahead and read it.
Okay. This ability allows a resonated Meister/weapon pair to strike with great force. After resonating completely, the Meister may spend their action to enable this ability. Gaining a bonus action when they do so. When attacking with their weapon partner, the Meister gains advantage on any attacks they make against creatures of the demon. So demon.
Okay, so let me clarify this. They gain advantage to hit, right? Advantage on the tentacles to hit anything with the following classifications. So the way it's going to be read is the Soul Eater based way, and then what that translates to in D&D. Mm-hmm. So it's demons for the Soul Eater base, and then in D&D that would translate to demons or devils, right? Then it's immortals, which translates to celestials. Then it's witches, which translates to fae, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the last one for this one, correct?
Yeah.
And you can the Witch Hunter lasts for a minute, mm-hmm. and you can do it once per long rest, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. So, yes, you get advantage to hit those types, either demons, devils, immortals, celestials, witches, and fae, or which would equal fae, for a minute once every long rest. That's after you spend your action to start Witch Hunter, which is after you've soul resonated, and you get a bonus action attack to hit. So you can use that with all of your normal attacks. I say normal attacks because next, Genie Hunter, you gain the same things you had as Witch Hunter, so advantage to hit those types. But now you can use Action Surge while using Witch Hunter, but it would technically be Genie Hunter, because Genie Hunter is your most up-to-date one. You also gain, I believe, a +2 bonus to hit. Joe, check that for me.
For Genie Hunter? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the Genie Hunter at level 10. You can use it. Genie Hunter makes Witch Hunter compatible with Action Surge, and gives you a +2 bonus to hit those types: the demons, devils, immortals, celestials, witches, fae. And sets up for, I believe, the Genie Hunter prereqs was Witch Hunter and then level 10, correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we waited until level 10 to do Genie Hunter, is because you have to. Level 15, you take Kishin Hunter, because Kishin Hunter's prerequisites are Genie Hunter and being level 15, correct?
Yeah.
And what Genie Hunter does is it allows you to keep everything you've already gotten from Witch Hunter and Genie Hunter. Did I say that right? What Kishin Hunter does allows you to keep everything you've gotten from Witch Hunter and Genie Hunter. But also gives you the ability of an auto crit for any of the previous listed types. So when you hit them, it acts as a critical hit. Because at level 15, we're assuming you're going up against enemies that are very difficult to hit anyway. So it's just kind of like, yay. It's still going to be very difficult to hit, but now you get even more of a reward payout. And what it does, Kishin Hunter specifically, is it also broadens the pool. So instead of demons, devils, immortals, celestials, witches, fae, it also now includes Kishin's aberrations. So there's that. That's why, and from now on, I'll probably just be listing off the Soul Eater list instead of doing the hand thing, because it just gets way too complicated. But now when you hear me refer to any of the Soul Eater names, you can refer back to here and know what they're equivalent to in D&D. I do this in case you're running a Soul Eater-based campaign, where it's just using things that you find in Soul Eater, or if you want to implement this class into D&D. You have that option. Aside from that, the last 5 levels are not going to be fighter. We're going into... Huh?
Level 18?
No. Because Primeval Awareness takes over for that.
Right.
So yeah, we're going into Ranger for the last few. And what we're going to do for this is it gives you, what, favored enemies first? You would pick one of the types. I would probably go with Witches Fae, because based on what you see, you fight a lot of those. But it's really up to you. Favored terrain would be desert, and I do this because Death City is surrounded by desert. If your DM will let you, something like a city might be a better favored terrain, although I have not run into a DM that would let you. But yours might. Only one way to find out. What am I forgetting there? There's one more thing. Is it...
For the fighting style?
Yes, the fighting style. What was that? Blind?
Blind fighting.
Blind fighting, and what that does is that allows you to just kind of see things that are relatively close to you. And I did that because Maka can sense, using like a soul sensibility, which we'll get into here in a minute, people that are around her. She can sense their souls. So from there, you go at level 3, right? You get your...
There was the Ranger archetype.
Yeah, the Ranger archetype at level 3. You're going to go Hunter, specifically Colossus Slayer, and what that does is that allows you to get an extra d8's worth of damage to enemies that are below their maximum hit point level. It's important to note that in case they have temporary HP, which would take them technically above their maximum threshold, but whatever. Yes. Also, I believe at level 3, or right around there, you get Primeval Awareness. And the way that works is essentially you can just kind of sense specific types of creatures within a general area. I forget the exact specifications. But the way I would run it for this, if I were running a Soul Eater-based campaign, I would say instead of the normal Primeval Awareness, you would be able to sense within that same range the Soul Eater-style enemies. So demons, immortals, Kishin, and witches. I did that out of order, but hopefully everything's okay. If you were keeping it in D&D base, you could keep it normal, or you could just make it to where they can Primeval Awareness sense the equivalents in D&D, which is demons, devils, celestials. Technically, based on the way I listed it, it would be aberrations and then fae. Aside from that, proficiencies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are they? It's
Athletics.
Acrobatics. Acrobatics, because you're flipping through the air a lot. It would be what?
Perception.
Perception, because she can sense things that are around her very easily, and then I said investigation because that's just generally good to have. Is there anything else? I feel like I've forgotten something, but Chill is giving me the go-ahead saying that I have not. Nope. Alright. That is all I have for you fine adventurers today. Hopefully it all made sense. If not, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I will get back to you as soon as I can, and I'm more than happy to clarify any questions you might have. Be on the lookout for my next video, which will be on Death the Kid and or Kid Death. But Death the Kid is the way I'm going to say it, because why not? If you can't possibly wait until then, feel free to check out my Discord or come hang out on Twitch. All links to my social media will be down in the description below, so make sure to check those out. Also, a friendly reminder to like and subscribe if you are enjoying these series and these videos. I worked really hard on creating the subclass, and with what we've got coming down the pike a little bit, I will be continuing to work just as hard, if not harder, to get those into a balanced state. So, I would really appreciate it if you are liking these videos to let me know by liking and subscribing, as well as feeling free to leave a comment down below letting me know how much you've enjoyed it. But, in any case, other than that, I will catch you all later.